In the previous two videos, I reported back to you on the remarkable success story of SeaNet Europe, a company that has succeeded in doing something that many other companies have failed in. That is to say, offering the opportunity of co-owning a super yacht without the headaches associated with ownership and at a considerably reduced cost. So successful have SeaNet been that they now have a fleet of 3 yachts in their management, with plans to increase that fleet even further. Today though, we're going to look at a different service that SeaNet Europe offer that's quite a departure from co-ownership. They call it sole ownership. Once again, I took the opportunity to talk to Matti Zadnikar, founder of SeaNet Europe, and some of his managers, so that I could get to grips with exactly what services they offer for aspiring yacht owners. And I started with the question of why they had decided upon this departure. So let's dig deep into the new aspect of SeaNet, which is sole ownership.
Yeah.
Who's going to tell me about why it was decided that SeaNet should also offer sole ownership and what challenges that produced?
Again, by growing the company and becoming internationally more and more known as an expert between yachts from 30 to 60 meters, we have attracted people coming to us now saying, guys, great stuff. I really like your concept. I really like the team behind it. I've seen what you have done. But for my first yacht, I like to go through the whole process and own it outright. Yeah, I want to do the full design because that's a huge advantage. If it's your yacht, you decide what you want to have. Interior, you decide on the options. And we actually, together with Johnny, from a racing point of view, and with Maddie as a very experienced owner, we talk to the owners and give them great advice on potential things that they need inside the yacht for navigation, to make the crew an easier life when you're on the water. And so together we come up with a list of things. For me, from experience on hospitality and experience on board, from Johnny from crew, from Matty from toys and options, but all the technical reasons behind it. And then we have people saying, okay, build me a yacht. And that's what we have done with the Azimuth 35 meter Grande. So from day one, we spoke to the owner. We did the complete design together with him and the team at Azimuth Benetti. We went through the whole full building process with Johnny and his team and the surveyors. And then we did the flag registration, the crew recruitment, and Johnny can go into more depth on that. And then the boat is now sailing for a season, and we had great experience.
So I guess yourself and Matty are involved with owner's representation, what I would call owner's representation. You go to the shipyard with the owner and explain what it is that you want to achieve. You decide what the model is. The contract gets signed. And then I guess, Johnny, you become very involved. So what would your involvement be?
Well, it all starts actually on paper. It's like everything, it starts from the idea. So the owner addresses his wishes, picks up the model from the range of the shipyard, and then it all starts, as Ralph says, the detailing, the interior, exterior, like in the rest of the yachting business. But once, actually, as more effort and energy you invest, and we all invest as a team with the owner in that stage, it becomes easier later on. Because I think that's a crucial point in which you determine what do you want to have on a boat, what is the level of the quality, how much money do you want to spend, what's your budget. So because in shipyards it can be endless, you know how it goes, yeah. So then it starts, the actual building process starts. So it's the first time we meet the boat, we see the boat. It's actually an empty hull, which came out of a mold, or if it's a steel boat, which is in welding procedure. And later on, it all goes throughout the normal surveying procedure. So I'm joined by another colleague who does more, who goes more into the technical stuff. And
would you say project manager?
I would say Matti is in this case. So far, Matti was project manager. We did collaborate really good together. Me from the technical part, and he as a project manager. And later on, I take it over as more as a surveyor. and I'm accompanied by another guy who does the technical part. I'm more into the whole building procedure and cosmetics, because it all comes to details at the end. So as there's more effort we push and go into details, the better the boat comes out of the shipyard.
Do you get involved with finding the crew for the new owner?
Well, yes, I would say it starts about 1 year before delivery. That's a starting point when we spread the news, when we like push it out, and it spreads pretty quickly, because many crew members and captains are highly interested when it's a new built boat. It's a unique experience. It's an honor also to take over the new boat. So then after a couple of months we have some candidates and we pick up the captain, and usually captain and chief engineer get involved in about 8-9 months before the delivery period.
Now, when I was speaking to Matty, he said that with co-ownership, once the contract is signed and the deal is done, it's the start of the journey rather than the end of the journey. Is that the case with sole ownership, or do they just sail off on their way and you don't hear from them again?
It's exactly the same. We do everything from start to the beginning, and we continue to manage the yachts once they are produced and they're in our fleet. So we embrace them in our fleet. And I think I want to stress out, there's a big difference when I talk to people who are experienced yacht owners or first-time yacht owners. And that's a huge advantage that we think I have as a company, that we have people, as Maddie owned multiple yachts and built multiple yachts himself. And I'm into this business a couple of years now, but in the beginning he came to me and he told me things that I didn't even think of. Yeah, I'll give you an example. A warm shower when you come out of the ocean. Yes. On the plant, it's an extra. It's not a standard to have a warm shower when you come out. An extra water maker when you're somewhere remote. Small things that a normal non-experienced person doesn't think of, but you have to calculate and produce while the ship is in production, because if you do that at the end, then it becomes a very expensive shower if you want to install it. So definitely, once people are with us, we want to take them the whole process and stay with us.
We only work together with successful entrepreneurs. When you're not successful, you cannot afford yourself a yacht. It's one of the most expensive tools that you can buy into. They have been successful by being very, very focused in managing their company. Yes. Some of us, I only have to look in the mirror, they work from Monday to Sunday, and they stand up with the company, they go to sleep with the company. And all of a sudden, that same entrepreneur buys a yacht. And on that yacht, he has 4, 5, 6, 7, whatever crew members. He has a budget between 500-600K up to 1.5 million, depending on the type of boat. And then all of a sudden, we expect as an entrepreneur that with 1 or 2 calls on a yearly base, everything goes well. Forget it. And then they are surprised that the captains are not functioning properly, that strange things happen, that they are not pleased. It's simply you need to management. And that's where we come in. We take that hassle away. We manage it in a proper way. And we manage it not only from a management perspective, we manage it from a view of an owner who is going to use the boat, and from an ex-captain who knows exactly what is necessary. For me, my DNA is rotational crew. I believe in it, I want to be an ambassador, and I push it, and I must say we are on the same level, because when I met Johnny first, he was already in a rotational boat, and we simply transported. I was immediately crazy about the idea, I liked it, and we are now doing that. Again and again, and for sure when it comes up to a sole owner, you have to discuss with him and to try to take him with you in that journey. Why should I pay? Because having rotational crew costs you 20-25% more. Yeah, it's not double of the money. A lot of people think that when you have rotational crew that you pay double of the money. No, the people work less, also they get paid less, still have a decent and interesting salary, but you have more free time. Yeah? But it's so important when you once have a crew, also for an owner, that the crew remains part of a boat. The crew builds up a lot of knowledge about the boat itself, the technicality of the boat, but also the owners. Yes. It's so nice to come on board to ask, how do I drink my coffee? What wine do I like? How has my meat to be made? Yes. So all that knowledge about the family, knowing the children, the stewardess that you trust. So we try to keep people in our organization, on the boats. And I think that's a huge advantage for our owners. Yes. But it takes a click, because they only see, well, it costs more. No, on the end it costs less.
During my time on board, I spent a lot of time talking to Matty and to his management team, as well as to the captains on board. And all the while, the crew were beavering about keeping the yacht clean inside and out. I know that the crew are highly valued by everybody in the SeaNet family, so I took a moment to speak to the chief stewardesses of the yachts to hear from them and what it's like working with SeaNet. So Martina, we'll start with you because you've been looking after us very nicely on the Bonetti Delfino. You're the newcomer to SeaNet. How long have you been working with the company?
I just started this summer, this season, 1st of June.
And before working on this Bonetti, what were you working on?
I was also in the yacht industry, also as a stewardess.
On bigger boats or smaller boats?
It's around 30 meters, all of them, actually, yeah.
And Maya, we met last year.
Yes, last year in
When we
Cannes.
were filming on Heed.
Yes.
How long have you been with SeaNet now?
This is my second year with the SeaNet company, and I would say that there is a really good season behind us, and I hope that we will continue like that also in this season.
Did you join the yacht as soon as they took ownership of it?
Yes,
So
when
you've
the
been there
boat
from the
was
beginning?
launched from the beginning.
And the yachts you were working on before were bigger or smaller?
There were smaller boats, so this is the biggest one that I'm working on.
Very good. Whereas you, Ellie, you worked on a very small boat before.
Yes.
How big was the yacht that you were working on before?
I started from 140. Then I went to
140 feet?
140 meters. And then I went to 110. Then 38. And now I am on this wonderful Bonetti 36 meters.
That particularly interests me because I know that working on a 140 meter yacht is a whole different thing to working on a 116 foot
Yeah.
yacht. Can you tell me about the differences?
It's completely different. When you start just with the guest owners' way of spending time on board, to start with, they have 50 plus crew members on board, whereas we have here up to 7 crew members covering all areas. As well, the size of the boat doesn't allow them to get in every port they would like to, so they have to stay on anchor. Crew life is a bit different because there is not that much of a free time. That during the down season they can get off the boat, walk around, spend time in the city they are at that time. You have that chance as well on 140 meter.
What about the standards of service and cleaning cabins on a 140 meter yacht? Did you find the standards were very demanding on such a large yacht?
Well, the particular owner that I worked for, he had really, really high standards. We were told that we need to be better than any 5-star hotel in the world on land. And we were always aiming to be best of the best. And that's what I took with me, and I'm trying to pass it to every yacht that I was afterwards.
Maya, you've been with SeaNet the longest, and I know it was a big season last year for the Azimuth. Did you not get tired out with all that work?
Well, I would say that crew is really used to have a busy season, and that's the reason why we are always trying to give our best. And we are really well trained and well prepared to have a busy and working summer. That's, let's say, our normal.
How much vacation do you get in a year?
In a year? Well, one part of the year I'm full-time on a boat, and then during the winter time I'm working half of the month, and half of the month I'm off.
So you get a good amount of time to recharge your batteries.
Yes, so it's for me it's let's say pretty much easier to handle my private life with my work.
Sure,
yes.
sure. Now, if you have watched that first video that I produced 1 year ago about SeaNet Europe, you may recall that I say that I used to work for a company who did try to set up a co-ownership structure for yachts, but we found it so complicated, eventually we just walked away from the idea. I find it incredible that Matty and his team have been so successful with the idea that they now have a fleet of 3 yachts under their management in such a short amount of time. And if there are 2 things that I've learned from the time that I've spent with him and with his team, it's firstly that success is due to the way that they carefully select the partners with whom they're prepared to work, how they carefully select the co-owners so that they're all compatible with the same ethics, the same standards. But secondly, it's the lengths that they go to ensure that each one of those co-owners has a completely hassle-free ownership experience. Now, I spend a lot of time on board yachts and I spend a lot of time with yacht owners, and I do see the pleasures and the joys of yacht ownership. But I also see some of the headaches, and what SeaNet Europe have done is take the headaches out of the equation. And I say that after a few days in which the SeaNet Europe team has treated my team as if we were SeaNet partners. Everything was organised seamlessly from the moment that we arrived in the airport, and we were treated like royalty by a fantastically selected SeaNet Europe crew. Now, I'm not saying that one day every yacht will be owned this way. SeaNet themselves know that that's not the case, and for that reason they've started to offer sole ownership solutions. What I would say categorically though is that we haven't seen anything yet. A fleet of 3 yachts with SeaNet Europe is just scratching the surface of what they will have in the future, and I'm really looking forward to being around to see that growth and reporting back to you as they go from strength to strength.